So to download Acme Vertical, you just click on the link and then you're going to save it to your system. And it doesn't really matter where you put it because it is a zip file and we do need to extract it. And we will be extracting it right into the Lesson 10 folder. So I'm going to come over here. Whoop. And to extract that, I'm going to double click on it. And I'm going to click on Extract All. And then where I want to put this, I'm going to have to hit Browse. I want to put this in Lesson 10. And then I'm going to click on Extract. And once you have done that, then you're going to go into VS Code. And once you're in VS Code, you'll go to File and Open Folder. Going to navigate to your Lesson 10 folder. And then we're going to open up Acme Vertical CSS, because this is the file we're going to change. And we are going to take a look at home.html. For home.html, you can see we've got a little link to the CSS here. And we have two major sections in our body. We have nav, which is for navigation, and then we have section. And by default, these display in a block style. So if we were to look at them, and let me open this up in a browser. Okay, so you can see that it is in more of a column style. That's how block looks by default. And what we're going to do is change the display to something called Inline Flex. What Inline Flex does is it tries to put everything in a row. So it will stick the About Us section to the right of the navigation area. And if we go into our CSS for body, all we have to do is add display inline flex and save our changes. And then if we reload the page, you'll notice that just that little change makes it look 100 times better. And what we're going to do next is style our links so that it looks more like a menu. So we're going to add some styling for the anchor tags in the navigation area. And we're just going to say text decoration, none. Okay, and that should get rid of the underlining. So if I save this, and you know what I think I'm going to do? I'll just try displaying these side by side, because that will make it much easier to show you these things. So if I reload this, you'll notice that the underlining went away. So that's our first little change. And the next thing that we're going to do is any anchors that are in section. Okay, and let's take a look at what those are. So here's our section. And you'll notice that we have some anchors in here, even though these are they're dummy links, but they're still links, okay? So they're still anchors. We are going to style them. We're going to remove the underlining. We are going to make them boldface, and we're going to change the color. So what we're styling now is the anchors within section. It will not affect navigation. So we're styling these guys. So let's come over here. And I'm going to put this below section. So we've got section A:*link. And we're doing text decoration, none, that gets rid of underlining, font weight, bold, and color green. We'll save our changes and reload. Now for the links in the navigation area, our goal is for them to look like buttons, okay, instead of having them look like links. And so what we're going to do with those is first we're going to format navul, okay, because we only want to change the way the links look in the navigation section. We've already formatted the links for the section area. Okay, so we only want to change how they look in nav. So we've got navul. And first thing we'll do is get rid of the bullets. So we're going to say list style type none. And then let's do a little space above the list. So what we're going to do is set the margin at the top to 12 pixels. The right is going to be 0, the bottom is going to be 0, and the left is going to be 0. So all of these settings, whether it's margin or padding, they go around clockwise. So the first one is always the top, right, bottom, and left. And then we're going to set padding to 0. And that will affect padding on all sides. All sides will be 0. So let's save this and reload. Okay, so you should notice bullets are gone and our list here kind of moved over to the left. And that is because we took out the margin. Now for each of the lines, so navulli, we want a border on the bottom. So we're going to say border bottom, if I can spell it, and we'll make it 2 pixels, which is pretty thin, solid and black. Let me save and reload. And once we apply color to the buttons, that is going to almost look like a little shadow below them. Now to apply color, we are going to style the links. And we are going to style all 4 states, but we're going to make the active and visited the same. And we're going to make the hover, or actually we're making the link and visited the same. And we're making hover and active the same. So I'm going to pause while I get all this code in here. All right, so for the link, when it first displays, and the link after we leave the page and come back, the visited, we're going to make it bold. Display is block, so we want that vertical display. We have padding on the top, 3 pixels, nothing on the right, 3 on the bottom, and 3 on the left. We're going to make the background color dark green or green, and the color of the font or the text is going to be white. And then when we point, we're still keeping it bold and we're still doing display block. Padding is still the same. We are changing the background color to a light green and the color of the text to dark green. So let's save this and we're going to reload. And immediately you'll notice that it looks like buttons. And now when we point with that lighter green, okay, it actually looks more like a menu. So this is our main menu. But now we need to create a styling for a sub menu. Because if we click on Executive Teams, you'll notice that there is a sub menu here, but it doesn't look real good. So what we're going to do is add the styling for the sub menu. So a submenu, if we look at the code here, I'm just going to look at it over on this side. This is a little different than when we were looking at home.html because the submenu has the outer unordered list, okay, with all of the lines, and then there is a nested unordered list. So what we're targeting here is nav ul ul. Okay, it's that second unordered list that we want to change. And the first thing that we're going to do is adjust the list itself. And we're going to set the margin to 0. And we do want the entire list indented. So we're going to do text indent 20 pixels. Okay, and we'll save that. And let's go over here and reload. Hopefully. Whoops. It does help if you spell your CSS correctly. Let's try it again. There. Okay, so that makes it look like a submenu a little bit more. We're going to add some additional changes to each one of these lines. And changing the lines does involve modifying link colors. So I'm going to pause the video and enter all of that code, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so what we are styling is nav ul ul li. So here's nav ul ul li. Okay, and it's the link. Okay, so the way the link looks when it first displays and when it's visited, you'll notice that we decrease the font size. It's still bold, it still displays block. We have the same padding and we have the same color scheme. We just made it smaller. And then for the hover, what we've done is made it smaller and we changed the background color to white and the color to green. So let me save this, reload. Okay, and immediately you can tell that there's a little bit of a difference between our main menu items and our submenu. And because this CSS has been added to all of these pages, they should automatically all pick up on the modifications. So at this point, we are done with Acme Vertical and you can close the pages.